And the Hurd say Lewis was the father of Raisha's unborn child. He is now in the DeKalb County Jail facing a malice murder charge. Raisha will be laid to rest on Monday. We're live in DeKalb County. Tom Jones, Channel 2 Action News.
These were the words of a man who truly believed nothing could touch him. He thought his music would make him live forever, that his name would echo in every street corner. But instead, Justin Renee Lewis, known in the game as Mad Music Cali, became infamous for something darker than any of his tracks. He ended up tied to the deaths of two women who once loved him deeply, and one of those cases still hasn't been solved to this day.
This is a person who has mistreated her for years. We don't want anybody else to experience this. No other family.
On October 11th, 2023, tragedy struck in Decatur, Georgia. Callie's girlfriend was shot down right in her parents' driveway. 7 bullets, no mercy, while her 9-year-old son stood there, frozen in shock as she fell with grocery bags still clutched in her hands.
I brought the whole shop and brought the whole bag. If I ain't pimping, what the fuck you call that? These niggas trying to jump a nigga, man. Man, fuck all that, man. Young boy with all that pussy ass shit, man. Man, what you don't fight one-on-one? I'll fight you one-on-one, nigga.
She was 2 months pregnant carrying Callie's child, and soon he'd be the one arrested for her murder. But before that heartbreaking moment, we got to rewind the clock to 2017 because this story runs deeper than anyone thought. Back then, another woman, 25-year-old Sydney Alco, was found dead inside her still-running car outside an apartment complex in New Orleans East. The pattern started long before anyone realized something was seriously wrong.
A family still reeling after someone shot and killed a young mother in the family driveway. It happened on Kelly Chapel Road.
To you both, family members and friends say they are frustrated because there has been no arrest, and they say they know exactly who did the shooting. And even more upsetting, they claim the shooter has been on social media many days since the murder.
She was hustling hard at Pier 424 Seafood Market right in the middle of New Orleans' French Quarter. But she had bigger dreams. She wanted to blow up in the rap scene under the name China. Her family said she was beautiful, kind, and full of love for everyone around her. She didn't have beef with anyone, no drama, no enemies. So when tragedy hit, no one could understand why. The only person her family ever suspected was the man she'd been married to for 5 long years. The same man who left her bruised, hospitalized, and fighting through pain so bad she needed staples in her head.
And I just feel like I just want justice for her.
Justice that Raisha Hurd's best friends say is coming too slowly.
That man was none other than Justin Renee Lewis, better known as Mad Music Cali. Sydney's sister, Tracy Alco, didn't sugarcoat a thing when she talked about that marriage. She opened up about years of harsh abuse that left Sydney bruised and broken, still clinging to the hope that he'd change someday. Her cousin Mariah Dyer said the same thing.
Witness that is unexplainable. It's so hard.
Both the family and Rashida's friends say they know who shot her. Keep in mind, several of the family members were at the house when the deadly shooting occurred. DeKalb police say they have identified the...
Sydney loved Lewis so much that she believed he'd finally stop hurting her, that one day the violence would end. But that day never came, and her hope only led to heartbreak. When Sydney was found inside her red 2003 Infiniti G35 that May evening, all eyes instantly turned to Lewis. The family was sure he was the one behind it.
And these friends say they do plan to reach out to DeKalb police to talk with them about this new information about this person being on social media. We are live in DeKalb County. Angelique Proctor, Fox 5 News.
All right, Angelique, thanks.
But even with all their suspicions and pain, there just wasn't enough proof to lock him up. The case went cold.
Family of a pregnant mother killed in her parents' driveway says they're relieved that police have made an arrest now.
Leaving Lewis to walk away without ever facing justice, and it haunted her loved ones for years. Fast forward 6 years later, Lewis had a new life and a new woman.
They say that while the suspect was on the run, he was posting on social media and even responding to their posts.
Aisha Hurd from DeKalb County, Georgia. Together they had kids, and to everyone around them, it looked like he was finally settling down, finally becoming a family man.
Right here in her parents' driveway. The family says a year ago they lost another family member to gun violence. They say Raisha helped them deal with that death, and now she's gone.
But behind closed doors, the same dark pattern started again. Just like with Sydney, the abuse crept back in. Arguments, fear, and violent moments that pushed Aisha to finally walk away to protect herself and her children. Then came the twist that changed everything.
Our family is devastated. Devastated.
Isha found out she was pregnant with his child. That's when things reportedly got even darker. Sources say Lewis started pressuring her to end the pregnancy, demanding she get an abortion, but she refused. Investigators now believe that refusal might have been what sealed her fate.
Happy that Justin is captured because we don't want anybody else to experience this. No other family.
It's even been reported that one night Lewis fired shots at Isha's car while she was still inside, but the gun jammed when the clip fell out, saving her life that night by pure luck. Rae never reported the incident to the police, possibly out of fear, or perhaps hoping that keeping her distance from Lewis would somehow keep her safe. But distance wasn't enough to protect her.
That was my rock. She was really helping me heal.
Now she is gone. The family couldn't believe it.
On that October evening, CIA was at her parents' home on Kelly Chapel Road, a place where she should have been safe from harm, doing something as mundane as unloading groceries from her car. As she carried bags toward the house with her 9-year-old son nearby, gunfire erupted from an ambush and 7 shots struck her body with deadly precision.
She posted that he was wanted and that we were going to find him, and he liked it. He liked the status.
2 bullets hit her in the back. One tore through her chest, another struck her leg, and the final shot hit her head. Her young son stood helpless as his mother collapsed in front of him.
Don't fall in love to find out that, your hands are not for hitting, they're for hugging.
While family members inside the house heard the gunfire and rushed outside only to find Rae already gone. She was 2 months pregnant, carrying a child who would never have a chance to live.
I definitely seek justice for Raisha.
Just days after the tragedy, DeKalb County Police made their move. On October 18, 2023, officers tracked down Justin Renee Lewis in Forest Park, Georgia, and took him into custody. He was hit with a charge of malice murder and booked straight into the DeKalb County Jail.
You could hear the deep breaths taken in the courtroom by Kaylin Fiengo's friends and family as the verdict was read out loud after a trial that started over 2 weeks ago with jury selection. Donovan Faison was found guilty on all counts.
For Isha's family, the arrest brought a quick moment of relief. Finally, it seemed like justice was catching up to him. But what Lewis did in the days between the murder and his arrest made things feel even darker.
The jury find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder.
An overwhelming moment of relief for Kaylin Fiengo's loved ones as the jury's verdict was announced.
We've been waiting a long time for this.
Before the cops got to him, he actually went live on Instagram, talking like nothing happened. He brushed off the accusations, claiming they were just rumors started by Isha's family, and even downplayed his connection to her, saying there was only a possibility he was the father of her unborn baby.
An emotional end, almost 3 years since Fiengo was found shot and killed in Sanford's Coastline Park. Investigators say Donovan Faison murdered her because she refused to terminate her pregnancy.
Were you supposed to meet up with her? I wasn't supposed to meet up with her. I was supposed to do nothing with her. We didn't have no conversation of meeting up, nothing.
Family members were furious and heartbroken. They said he was mocking them online, even reacting to posts that labeled him as wanted. Isha's sister, Rhonda Heard Dickens, told reporters she felt both relief and deep pain after his arrest, saying that for the first time since the murder, the family was finally able to sleep peacefully that night. The pain hit the family like a wave that wouldn't stop. This wasn't just one tragedy. It was the second deadly shooting in their family within just 14 months. The heartbreak was unreal, leaving them struggling to understand how so much loss could hit the same people twice.
During closing arguments Monday, prosecutors played body camera video of Faison's first interview with detectives.
Lie after lie after lie after lie, you can read it line after line.
And presented months of messages, including this exchange where they say Fiengo told Faison she was pregnant and his response was abortion.
The parallels between Sidney Alco's death in 2017 and Isha Heard's murder in 2023 are too clear to ignore. Both women were found near or inside cars.
Best you have evidence of a man that's cheating, of a man that possibly didn't want to have another child. There's no evidence of him being in the car. There's no evidence of him coming around the front. There's no evidence of her reaching for a purse. There's no evidence of him pulling the trigger.
Both had been in relationships with Justin Renee Lewis that, according to their families, were filled with violence and fear, and both were women described by loved ones as kind, peaceful, and deeply loved by everyone around them. The only real difference?
The defendant thought about it. He devised a plan to kill an innocent victim. He carried out the plan
in cold blood.
Sydney's case is still unsolved, while now Lewis faces serious charges for Isha's murder. But who is Justin Renee Lewis, and how did he end up at the center of all this heartbreak? Let's rewind the story.
What she did was brave regardless, right? She chose her child at the end of the day.
Now that Faison has been found guilty, he could be sentenced to death. The judge ordered both the state attorneys and the defense attorneys to be back at this courthouse on Wednesday to start the death penalty phase.
Born and raised in New Orleans' 9th Ward, a neighborhood known for its strong culture but also some serious struggles, Lewis grew up dreaming big. Influenced by local rap icons like the Hot Boys, he started writing rhymes as a kid, believing that one day his name would echo through the hip-hop world. Money was always tight for Lewis, and he didn't have access to fancy studios.
Happy that Justin is captured because we don't want anybody else to experience this. No other family.
We just buried my brother last year for gun violence.
So he got creative, even if it meant crossing the line. Back in those early days, he was so desperate to make music that he actually stole microphones from discount stores like Family Dollar, then used his mom's computer and free recording software to lay down tracks in the basement after school.
Did you say to Detention Officer Griffin, 2 weeks after you caused that, I hope the bitch dies? Did you say that?
That's the bitch I was talking about.
Oh, I see.
Rae Carruth.
Oh.
That's the bitch I was referring to, who got me into this.
Oh.
Okay? This is the bitch I was referring to.
Oh.
He didn't stand up. I stood up for mine. I said I did it.
Mm-hmm.
I did it because he made me do it.
His early grind was all about hustle. He'd burn CDs of his first mixtape and post up outside corner stores in the 8th Ward, selling them hand to hand to anyone willing to listen. Every dollar he made went straight back into the dream, funding real studio time and trying to get his name out there. One big move that got people talking was when he paid for a feature from New Orleans bounce legend Big Freedia on the single By the Look in Her Eyes.
Okay, he made the other two also do it. Okay, that's your client. The bitch.
At the time that you made that statement, Sharika Adams was fighting for her life, right?
Did the captain tell you what happened that day?
That collab gave him a shot of credibility in the local music scene and had people starting to notice his name. Over the years, Lewis dropped tracks like Dumb Flow in 2020 and Letter to Meek in 2023, slowly building a loyal underground following on Spotify and Apple Music. His music videos, especially The Nightmare featuring Magnolia Chop, had that gritty, real-life storytelling vibe that connected hard with fans of Southern street rap.
My question is, Sharika Adams was fighting for her life, wasn't she?
She was, but this wasn't about Sharika Adams. It was about the person who got me involved in all this. For 6 months, your client did this. This wasn't a one-day affair. It was for 6 months. He dragged me into something that I didn't want to be involved with. Your client.
Lewis even crossed paths with some big names in the rap game, including NBA YoungBoy. The tension between them wasn't anything wild, but it showed one thing clearly. Lewis loved attention and wasn't afraid to stir up a little drama just to keep his name buzzing.
Now, have you ever referred to women as bitches?
It's not something I would do all the time. If I did it in anger.
Right. If you were angry at a woman, you'd say, you bitch, right?
Yeah. But if a dude acts like a bitch, okay, like your client, the insult doubles.
During a 2018 interview at South by Southwest, Lewis tried to keep things cool. He brushed off the talk about any beef with YoungBoy and said he actually hoped they could collab one day. He painted himself as just another hungry artist trying to make it through the rough, competitive music industry. It was a glimpse of the professional image he wanted the world to see. But behind the smiles and interviews, cracks were already forming in his personal life. Cracks that would soon destroy the lives of the women closest to him. After the shocking murder, DeKalb County Police moved fast.
I've been with a woman. There it is. Who didn't stand up. Who didn't say, look, I did this. Look, I am sorry. I did this. I'm gonna, what he said was, I'm gonna save myself after the murder. You're defending this.
They immediately classified the case as a domestic-related homicide. This wasn't a robbery, and it definitely wasn't random. Investigators said it looked like a cold, calculated ambush against a woman who had dared to say no to a man who thought he could control everything, even her life.
Were you hoping that Miss Adams died?
I got a second-degree murder charge. The rest of my life in prison. If she would have lived, I wouldn't have the rest of my life in prison.
Sir.
So you could answer that question.
Isha's sister, Rhonda Hurd Dickens, spoke to reporters after Lewis's arrest, saying the family finally felt a tiny bit of peace that night. They were finally able to close their eyes and rest, even if just for a moment. That tiny bit of peace didn't come close to erasing the pain. The trauma cut even deeper knowing this was the second deadly shooting in the Hurd family within just 14 months. It was heartbreak stacked on heartbreak, and the weight of it all was unbearable.
Luann, some really disturbing information we're learning about this case. We know it took detectives months to put the evidence together in order to make this arrest. I want to show you now a picture of the man that they arrested yesterday. This is 21-year-old Donovan Faison. He's accused of killing his girlfriend and her unborn child. This happened back in November of last year at Coastline Park in Sanford. Today, a banner in memory of 18-year-old Kaylin Fiengo still hangs from the fence near this crime scene. An officer patrolling the area found Kaylin dead in the driver's seat of her car while parked at the park.
Aisha's brother, Ralph Hurd Jr., spoke about how incredible and full of light his sister was, while Rhonda remembered all the years of mistreatment Aisha had suffered before her death. This time, though, the evidence against Lewis was strong enough to finally put him behind bars and hit him with a murder charge he couldn't dodge.
Police say Kaylin was about 3 months pregnant when the suspect wanted her to have an abortion, but she refused. And that's what investigators believe was the motive behind the shooting. The suspect's arrest has brought a bit of closure, as you can imagine, to her family and close friends.
But one question still hangs heavy over everything. Could Aisha's death have been prevented? If Sydney's case had been solved back in 2017, if Lewis had faced real consequences the first time, would there have ever been a second victim? It's a chilling thought that refuses to fade.
It did take a long time. It's very bittersweet. It makes it feel more real. Definitely that he's in jail now, but I'm just happy that justice is finally being served for her.
Just a lot of emotions. Very happy, but also sad that this is something that we're like celebrating or whatever.
While Lewis sat in jail waiting for his trial, researchers and public health experts were sounding alarms about a horrifying reality. Homicide is actually one of the leading causes of death for pregnant women in the U.S. It even surpasses many traditional pregnancy complications. And what's worse?
Faison is facing 2 charges of homicide for Kaylin's murder and for the murder of the unborn child.
In a large number of these cases, the attacker isn't a stranger. It's an intimate partner, someone who once claimed to love the victim, but instead saw her pregnancy as a threat to his control and decided to end her life because of it. Sadly, stories like this don't just happen once. They repeat over and over across America, and it's terrifying how similar they sound. Take the case of 23-year-old Donovan Faison from Seminole County, Florida, a story that mirrors Justin Lewis's in chilling ways. In November 2022, his 18-year-old girlfriend, Kaylin Figo, texted him excitedly with photos of her positive pregnancy test. She was 2 months along and ready to celebrate the news with him. But instead of joy, his response turned cold and cruel. He demanded she get an abortion and accused her of lying, refusing to believe the baby was his. Kaylin stood her ground, just like Isha had done. And what followed was a nightmare. According to investigators, Faison lured Kaylin to Coastline Park in Sanford, pretending he wanted to celebrate the pregnancy. But once she arrived and sat in her car, he turned on her, pulling out a gun and ending both her life and her unborn child's in an instant. An ultrasound photo was later found near her body, a heartbreaking symbol of the future she'd been so excited to share. Prosecutors later showed text messages that revealed how deeply the arguments about the pregnancy ran, proof that what happened wasn't random, but planned. Faison was arrested in August 2023 and charged with first-degree murder and killing an unborn child under Florida's fetal homicide laws. When his trial began in October 2025, it lasted for weeks, but the jury took only 2 hours to reach their decision. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder. During the penalty phase of the trial, Kaylin's family poured their hearts out in court, sharing the unbearable pain of losing her. Her aunt Tatiana Figo described Kaylin as brave, funny, and full of forgiveness. A young woman with her entire future ahead of her, stolen in an instant. On the other side, Faison's own family begged the jury to spare his life. They pleaded for a sentence of life in prison instead of death, saying he was still young and could somehow change. But the jury didn't agree. They voted 11-1 in favor of the death penalty, citing how young Kaylin was and how carefully planned the crime had been. Then, on December 8, 2025, Judge Deborah S. Nelson officially sentenced Donovan Faison to death, one of Florida's rare death penalty cases since the state's recent law changes. But this isn't the first time something like this has shaken the nation. Another tragic case that grabbed headlines was that of former NFL wide receiver Rae Carruth. Back in 1999, his story became a national scandal. His girlfriend, Sharika Adams, was 24 years old and 8 months pregnant when she refused his demands to end the pregnancy. Carruth, desperate to avoid paying child support that could slow down his rising football career, made an unthinkable choice. He hired hitman Van Brett Watkins and a group of accomplices to stage a drive-by attack. Sharika was ambushed in her car on a Charlotte street, hit by multiple bullets, but in an act of unbelievable courage, she managed to call 911 and name Carruth as the one responsible before slipping into a coma. Doctors performed an emergency C-section and delivered their son, Chancellor, but Sharika tragically passed away a month later. Chancellor survived, but he now lives with cerebral palsy, a lifelong reminder of the violence that took his mother's life. The case shook the entire nation, and Carruth's trial became a media frenzy. After 20 hours of deliberation, the jury found him not guilty of first-degree murder, but did convict him of conspiracy to commit murder, firing a gun into an occupied vehicle and using a weapon that caused the death of an unborn child. On January 22, 2001, he was sentenced to serve a minimum of 18 years and 11 months in prison. He ended up serving nearly 19 years before being released in October 2018, claiming to feel remorse but still refusing to fully admit guilt. When you look at these stories side by side, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Time and time again, men see pregnancy not as a blessing, but as a threat to their freedom, their image, or their careers. They pressure their partners to end the pregnancy, and when they're told no, things turn deadly. What's even more chilling is how similar these attacks are. Carefully planned ambushes, often near cars, designed to look random but planned down to every detail. It's a terrifying cycle that keeps repeating, and the victims are almost always women who simply wanted to protect their unborn child. Research published in PLOS Medicine backs up exactly what these heartbreaking stories show. There's a strong link between intimate partner violence and men pressuring their partners to end pregnancies. And when women refuse, the danger skyrockets. The numbers are terrifying. Studies reveal that pregnancy can actually intensify abuse in nearly half of violent relationships, with the risk of homicide jumping dramatically during that vulnerable time. So where does this case stand now? That's the big question haunting everyone who's been following it, and sadly, the answer isn't clear. Even though Justin Renee Lewis was arrested and charged with malice murder back in October 2023, there have been no public updates in more than 2 years. No word on a trial, no plea deal, no conviction, nothing. It's like the whole case got stuck in legal limbo, frozen in a system that drags its feet even when lives hang in the balance. What makes things even stranger is what recent searches uncovered. Lewis doesn't appear to be listed in DeKalb County's jail records right now. That instantly raises eyebrows and big questions. Was he somehow released on bond while facing a murder charge? And if so, how could that even happen? Could something have happened behind the scenes that the public hasn't been told about? That's the question everyone's asking right now. In Georgia, murder cases, especially ones involving malice murder, almost never come with easy bond releases. It's one of the most serious charges possible, carrying the potential for a life sentence if convicted. So the idea of someone walking free while awaiting trial on that kind of charge sounds nearly impossible. But here's the strange part. The fact that Lewis's name doesn't show up in current jail records suggests something major may have changed after his initial arrest. With no official updates from the DeKalb County District Attorney's Office or any new info from local media, we're left trying to piece together a story full of missing details. To make things even more confusing, court searches through Georgia's Odyssey system show no active case for Justin Renee Lewis connected to the murder charge. That could mean several things. It might not have been digitized yet, it could be sealed for legal reasons, or maybe there's some kind of administrative mix-up keeping it off the public record. Whatever the reason, the silence around this case is only making the mystery grow louder. This total lack of transparency is driving people crazy, especially Isha's family, who've been waiting for justice since October 2023. The relief they once felt after Lewis's arrest has now turned into frustration and heartbreak as the case drags on with no clear answers in sight. But this isn't just about one family's pain. It highlights a much bigger problem with how the justice system handles domestic violence cases, especially in places overloaded with backlogged files. DeKalb County, like a lot of urban areas, has been dealing with serious delays in criminal cases for years. The COVID-19 pandemic made it even worse, shutting down courtrooms and clogging up the system so badly that many cases are still crawling forward at a snail's pace. In Georgia, murder trials can easily take anywhere from 2 to 5 years before they even reach a courtroom. So even if something is happening behind closed doors, it could still be a long while before the public sees any real progress. And for families waiting for justice, that silence can feel like a second kind of pain. And what's your take on this story? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.